Dr. Mary Jane.
Good morning, everyone. It is with great honor and my privilege to be a part of this very big event. And I would like to say thank you for inviting me because Dr. Koda is my idol. Thank you, sir. Nice to meet you, even here in virtual setting only. When I was a resident, one of my mentors told me, Jane, for you to have a good practice, you must first build a good name, and prosperity will follow. All of us here right now are very lucky and blessed because we are a member of Elken. We have a very good name. We have a very stable, credible, and profitable company wherein it offers high quality products for our wellness and welfare. This afternoon, I will be sharing with you how Elken Spirulina helped me in my everyday tasks as I perform my task as a physician, how my family benefited from it, and how my patients recover with the help of Elken Spirulina. We as physicians, we does not only recommend anything to our patient, we should be very sure that these products are safe and effective. That's why it is very important that these products underwent clinically based evidence studies. That's why I'm very thankful that I was able to watch Dr. Koda's presentation regarding the boosting of Elken Spirulina by boosting our innate immunity. Okay, so I will be presenting to you some of my patients who benefited from this. The first patient is a 10-year-old female who initially presented with body weakness and paralysis. No? This patient contracted intractable hypokalemia, and she had also pneumonia, moderate risk, and malnutrition. As a whole, we need to treat the patient. No? Not only the pneumonia, not only the hypokalemia, we have to treat the patient as a whole. So I gave him the necessary interventions and I recommended confidently Elken Spirulina and IG6 to this patient. And after 3 weeks of admission, this patient recovered. The next one is a 6-month-old patient with upper respiratory tract infection. Again, with the proper intervention, I included Elken Spirulina in the treatment regimen. We diluted the Elken Spirulina in the patient's milk so that he can consume it. He can comply with the consumption of it. Fortunately, this patient had a follow-up on me and he is a stronger baby now. Okay, so the next slides will show us that this 68-year-old patient, a patient of my husband, suffered from hypertension and also pneumonia moderate risk. This patient was also admitted at a certain hospital here in the Philippines. With the proper intervention and of course, with the help of our Elken Spirulina and IT6, this patient, after 3 days of hospitalization, was able to go home improved. And the other one is a 1-week-old patient who suffered from sepsis neonatorum. This patient had blood infection and manifested as pursa and fever. So like as you can see, I again advise the parents to incorporate Elken Spirulina to the patient's milk. And now this patient is also fully recovered. The next slide will show us one of my very complicated patients. This is a 1-week-old patient who suffered from seizures. At that age, this patient experienced seizures, poor activity, fever, cough, and colds. Actually, this patient was rejected by almost 6 hospitals. And then my friend asked me to help this baby. And fortunately, I was able to admit him to a secondary hospital, and this patient was treated. No? After 2 weeks of treatment, upon giving the necessary intervention, I again included Elken Spirulina to the regimen. Even the patient is an OGT, no, or oral feeding tube, we see to it that the patient can consume the Elken Spirulina. The patient now is already 11 months old. As you can see in the next picture, he is more smart and stronger. So I was very thankful that I have now Elken Spirulina as part of my treatment to all my patients, whether they are admitted or they are treated in an outpatient department. The other one is a 1-year-old and 5-month-old patient who also had malnutrition and pneumonia moderate risk. No? As was discussed a while ago, since our spirulina is complete, this patient recovered from malnutrition. That's why he easily recuperated. So in any disease, it is very important to have a complete and balanced nutrition so that we can combat or we can win the battle of any kind of disease. Next, this is a 2-week-old baby, again, with neonatal pneumonia. And the other one is a 1-year-old who suffered from COVID-19 last month. The patient had pneumonia moderate risk. So with the proper intervention, the baby recovered with the help of Elken Spirulina and IT6. As a daughter, I was very thankful that I met Elken, even just for now. The next slide will show how these patients were able to recover because of it. Presently, these 2 patients are admitted. The 12-year-old boy suffered from dengue hemorrhagic fever with warning signs. On admission, the platelet count is only 17,000 and WBC is 1.2, which shows that there is indeed a decreased immune system in this patient. It is now the patient's 4th hospital day. On the 2nd day, it became 28,000. On the 3rd day, 40,000. Now, an update told me that he already has 80,000 platelet count, which is still not normal, but the patient is having good recovery. With, of course, with our Elken Spirulina and IT6. This is a 14-year-old female who has also dengue hemorrhagic fever. This patient also was given these supplements, no, as a help for her to recover well.
ចាអញ្ចឹងសម្រាប់ Spirulina យើងគឺពិសេសមែនតើសម្រាប់ Dr. Mary Jane គឺគាត់បានធ្វើការព្យាបាលជាមួយនឹងអ្នកជំងឺជាច្រើនប្រភេទតាំងពីក្មេងរហូតដល់មនុស្សចាស់អញ្ចឹងនៅក្នុងនោះដែរគឺមានអ្នកជំងឺតាំងពីអាយុតាំងពីអាយុ1អាទិត្យតាំងពីអាយុ1ឆ្នាំឬ5ឆ្នាំតាំងពីគាត់មានជំងឺសួតរលាកសួតក៏ដូចជាជំងឺគ្រុនឈាមអញ្ចឹង Spirulina យើងគឺជួយទៅដល់
ischemic heart disease. My father underwent the pacemaker implant last June 2020.
ចាអញ្ចឹង Spirulina គឺជួយទៅដល់ប្រព័ន្ធការពាររាងកាយភាពស៊ាំគាត់ឲ្យកាន់តែរឹងមាំទៅអ្នកជំងឺរបស់ហ្នឹងព្យាបាលជាអញ្ចឹងមកមើលអ្នកជំងឺមួយទៀតគឺគាត់មានអាយុ70ឆ្នាំគាត់មានបញ្ហាជំងឺទឹកនោមផ្អែមហើយកម្រិត2ហើយក៏ដូចជាជំងឺបេះដូងផងដែរ
Fortunately, on June 2020, after the operation, I maintained my father with Spirulina, IG6, and Elken. And you know what? Even he is 70 years old, he acts and works like 50-year-old. So that's why I'm very glad that I met Elken Spirulina. Another testimony that I want to share to all of you, even we are doctors, we are not spared to a deadly disease like COVID. This is my husband, a medical internist, 47-year-old. Last March 2020, my husband contracted the COVID disease.
ចឹងគាត់ថាសម្រាប់នេះគឺជាគ្រួសាររបស់គាត់ហើយនៅក្នុងចាក្នុងពេលហ្នឹងគាត់មានជំងឺ COVID ដែរ
was hospitalized for 12 days in a tertiary hospital here in the Philippines. and he was advised ICU setting on the second day because his oxygen level is decreasing very much. So what we did is, of course, with the help of a lot of prayer and with the interventions of all our colleagues, and by continuously giving him Elken Spirulina in massive doses, I gave him 10 tablets 3 times a day, IG6, 10 tablets 3 times a day, and Elken 1 sachet 2 times a day. After 12 days, my husband was discharged improved. But COVID is indeed a difficult enemy. We really have to maintain these supplements even after COVID. So until now, my husband is consuming these supplements. Me, I was the one who attended him for 12 days in the hospital. And everyone is wondering why I did not contract COVID. Simply because I am a user of these effective supplements. According to the World Health Organization, balanced nutrition is a great factor for good health. So for us to ensure good health, let us always consume Elken Spirulina so that we can boost our immune system and we can have a healthy life. Thank you and good Elken morning.